Hi, everyone. My name is Gijs De Boer. I'm a research scientist who works at NOAA through the Cooperative Institute for Research in Environmental Sciences at the University of Colorado.
What are drones?
Well, one of the tools that we use for looking at the atmosphere and looking at the clouds and other things that we see every day are drones. Drones are also called uncrewed aircraft systems because they don't have any people on them. These are essentially robots that we send to the sky to get observations, to take measurements in places that we otherwise can't easily reach. Sometimes that means that they go to dangerous places, like flying through a volcanic plume that's emitting all kinds of gases that humans can't breathe, or maybe dropping them into a big storm like a hurricane. And sometimes that means flying at really low altitude where regular planes don't like to fly because it's too dangerous and somebody could potentially have a crash landing there. So the drones that we like to fly are generally fairly small. They're ones that we can carry with our hands, maybe 2 or 3 feet across. I can think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of drones that we've flown that are all about the size of a person or smaller. And we've also used some very large drones, and this would be the Global Hawk, which is a plane that NASA operates for NOAA sometimes. And that plane is about the size of a normal small jet, like a business jet that people can fly in. It's a really big drone that is controlled by a group of about 20 people on the ground. The instruments that are on the drones vary quite a bit. We always like to carry some sensors that make measurements of temperature and humidity and pressure to give us some basic information about the air that we're flying through. We also measure some instruments that measure the wind to have a better idea of how wind is moving the air around in a certain environment. Sometimes we measure aerosol properties, so particle properties, and for those we have little sensors that can count the number of particles that are present in a given environment and give us information on how big those particles are. We also sometimes carry cameras. The cameras can be used to document what we're flying in or over. And one really nice example of that recently was we were flying in the Arctic and making measurements of the sea ice underneath our aircraft as we're flying to better understand how the melt of that sea ice impacts the atmospheric state in terms of how much sunlight can be reflected off of it and how much energy, again, or heat is transported from the ocean to the atmosphere. For the drones that we fly, we do travel with the aircraft, and we usually try to fly those, maybe a couple of miles away from where we are, which means that I've gotten to travel all over the world for work, which is usually fun. And sometimes it's always hard work. Sometimes it's a little bit harder than other times, but I've been to the Arctic a couple of times. I've been to the tropics. I've gone to Oklahoma, all over the place in Europe to fly these different systems and make measurements in different environments. And as you might imagine, the things that happen on a beach in the tropics are very different than the things that happen on a beach in northern Alaska, where the polar bears are roaming around. We have had lots of encounters with animals. So in the Arctic, I mentioned the bears. We've had encounters with both polar bears and brown bears. We've had a fox jump on one of our drones thinking it was a bird. It wasn't. It was very disappointed that it couldn't eat the drone. And down in the tropics, when we were flying in Barbados, we actually had to deal with a herd of goats. And there was a herd of goats in the location that we were flying, and they really, really, really liked everything that we put in front of them, our tent, our computers. They were very interested in all of those things, and we spent a lot of time trying to control the goats so that we can fly our platforms.